Hello, welcome to Limit Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lionel himself, Zeke Limon, and this is Crash, who wants to just walk around, but I'm making him part of the video. And this is our review for Godzilla multiplied by Kong, the New Empire. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way, shall we? I'm going to leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Godzilla and Kong, the New Empire. And of course, hit that subscribe button, as it helps me grow into my YouTube career, and it also gives Crash here a treat. Yep, if you hit the subscribe button, he gets a treat. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, I'm a fan of the Monsterverse. I've relatively liked every single movie for the most part. King of the Monsters was the only one that was close to being like, not that good. And all the others, I had a great time with it. Godzilla versus Kong, the first one, has a special place in my heart, being the one that, it was essentially the movie that brought everyone back to theaters. I mean, not technically, but it was the one where everyone was starting to get comfortable dabbling, going back in. It had like the biggest opening once the pandemic era was really starting to die out a little bit. So very special place in my heart for that one, because I had the whole family together. We went to the theater, and it was like, it wasn't a full house, obviously, but you know, it was still pretty full, and it really felt like the movies again. So going into this one, I was really looking forward to it. Now look, this movie is probably going to have an uphill climb, because it is coming off a post-1 world, where, you know, this is a lot of people's favorite Godzilla film, is -1, mine included. It is the best Godzilla film made, and we can finally say, hey, a Godzilla movie is now worthy of the Oscars. It has won an Academy Award. So I could see a lot of people trying to hold this movie to that standard. In a lot of ways, that's just not fair. It's just not. I do think a lot of eyes are going to go see this movie, which is very, very good for it, because I did see that it is probably having one of the best openings of the Monsterverse, which is great. But again, I can see a lot of reviews coming out and be like, it's not -1. It was never going to be, though. This movie knows exactly what it is, and that it's a B film that is not taking itself way too seriously. They know, hey, we have a giant monkey and a giant lizard who breathes fire. What do you want? You want to see them fight? Because they're going to fight. And they're going to fight other monsters as well. And it's awesome. And the way that they do these fights are very, very great. Like, I don't want to give anything away, because like when it happened, I was like, my mind was blown. But I'll say some of the things I've seen. Did I see two monsters give each other a suplex like it was WWE? You're damn right I did. And it was awesome. It was great. Did I see some tag team moves? Hell yeah. Like, when it does that, when it's on the fights, the movie sings, and it sings very, very well. It also does this thing where the humans are still very much a vocal point. And, you know, I'm pretty sure I've said this in some other videos as well, but, you know, every movie is a dish, right? You have your A storyline, your B storyline, and your C storyline. A is the steak, B is the baked potato, and C is your vegetables and your asparagus and all that stuff to complete the dish, and at some point they all merge into one. Kong's the steak, and at points I do believe like this really wasn't supposed to be a Godzilla and Kong movie. This was supposed to be just a Kong movie, because it is his movie. He has the arc. He goes through really the sad boy hours, who has a home, and you know, he is struggling to find his place, and you know, he's looking for some other things. And he does go through a whole entire transformation, and in ways that he is just a guy. Like, honestly, I'm just like, man, Kong, you're a cool dude. You're just down your luck, but you're gonna figure it out. While Godzilla, he's in the movie, and he is the asparagus. The humans is the baked potato. And a lot of times with the human stuff, because again, this movie knows what it is. It's a B movie. And they are just really there to give commentary for the most part, or crack some jokes. And sometimes the jokes hit. Like, I laughed quite a bit at some of the human lines in this movie. But I will say it probably fell flat, and that's where the movie kind of becomes hollow, if you will. And I'm not talking about Earth. If you know, you know. And that it just loses a lot of momentum. But when it does focus on the steak with Kong, because you just have to rely on body language with the animals, their eyes, and their facial expressions of how they're feeling, and you're trying to connect the dots as it goes because there's no subtitles. And you're just there watching. It's almost like watching National Geographic without the narration. And it's really, really good. And I really love how they did that. And I hope they continue to do that with these movies going. Honestly, in some ways, I'm just like, you know what, screw it. Take the humans out. Just have them be complete background and they run. And just let's just do a whole 90 minutes of us just relying on these animals' body gestures. Because it really does well. Like, the biggest laugh I have is when Godzilla and Kong meet. Because Godzilla is so mad. Because, like, Godzilla's like, we had a deal. Which is something that explained by the humans, which was very much needed. And, like, why are you up here? And Kong's like, no, I need your help. But, like, you know, they're not talking. They're like, no, you need to come with me. And Godzilla is so mad at him. It is so, so funny. And it's great because you're just relying on that. The other problem that I have with Godzilla, because, again, I do feel like this was supposed to be a Kong movie, is that every time they cut to him, it's just almost like when you're like, okay, I need to call my dad. I haven't talked to him in a little bit. Or I need to talk to my mom. I need to call the parents because I haven't talked to them in a while. But, you know, your parents are sometimes moody. So you call your sibling and you're like, hey, have you talked to dad? Have you talked to mom? And they're like, yeah. How are they? Oh, they're in a bad mood. Oh, they're mad. Okay, I'll call later. Call the sibling again to see if the coast is clear. Hey, how are mom and dad? Oh, they're mad. They're still mad. That's basically what we're doing with Godzilla this whole entire time. Because Godzilla, his whole storyline here is that he is in the gym, grinding, getting strong, getting big, because someone pissed him off. Because that's literally what they say. He goes, yeah, no, he's just charging up. He's angry. Whatever's got him mad, he's mad. And they do it like 4 times, and it's a little bit annoying. It's just cool to see Godzilla. But at the same time, it's like, I don't think we really need this. Because truly, this is Kong's story of him facing the Scar King, who also isn't really that big of a threat. And it is all done within the booking, I'm going to use my wrestling terms here, y'all know I'm a wrestling fan, of the first fight. They have like 3 fights. And the first one, all 3 fights are cool with that revolves the Scar King. It's just, they deflate any threat that he has because the first fight is essentially Kong versus Scar King one-on-one, mano-a-mano. And Scar King has, you know, being the heel, kind of cheats to win. And it's just like, well, you know, in the way that it's set up, it's like, well, if it was a true mano-a-mano fight, Kong's got him. Kong had him beat. Scar King got scared and had to do some heel shit in order to get the dub. And it just deflates any threat. Like, Mecha Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Kong was a true threat where you're like, yeah, no, it needs to be a handicap match in order to finally take this guy down because even Godzilla's going to win. That's another key point of the storyline, too. It's just like, yeah, you know, once we get Godzilla and he agrees to do this, it's over. And it basically is. I ain't going to lie to y'all. But look, at the end of the day, are you going to this movie for cinema? Maybe after -1. But you'd be wrong to go in there thinking that. But for most of us, or I hope most of us anyway, we're not going there for story. We're going there to see a giant ape, and a giant monk, and a giant lizard who breathes fire, kick some ass and take some names, and they do in some really, really cool ways. I'm telling you, once they get to Hollow Earth and like it is just, you know, about the fight, the movie excels tremendously, and I had a lot of fun with it. Is this my favorite out of all of them, though? No. It's not. I actually prefer Godzilla vs. Kong compared to this because I guess also part of it that the novelties run off of like, because you know, it's like the Avengers. When the first Avengers came out, it was like, wow, all these heroes are together. Godzilla vs. Kong is like, wow, Godzilla and Kong are together and they're fighting. The second one is like Age of Ultron. You're like, yeah, you know, we've seen it. It you know, it's cool. And then it's just like, okay, now what else? What else do you got? That's kind of how this one fell into play too. And I do think the next step now, once we do another team-up movie, is to just get rid of the humans and just do Godzilla and Kong as the main stories and just keep it with the animals. But besides that, again, I give it a positive review out of the lemon scale where it goes sour lemon, expired store-bought lemonade, lemonade, freshly squeezed lemonade, and a strawberry lemonade at the very top. This is borderline between store-bought and lemonade. I maybe more store-bought than just lemonade, but very, very good nonetheless. Store-bought lemonade. And I say, yeah, head to the theater and go see it. Just have a good time. Just turn your brain off and just escape from the world. I believe this guy right here is probably wanting to take a nap, so we're probably going to go to bed here. But until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.